So today was the March for Life Day at the White House. Donald Trump hosted a number of people from the rally at the Rose Garden, where he gave a speech proclaiming his approval of pro-life movement and how much every life matters no matter what. Now, Donald Trump's stance has changed over the years. I went back and looked through it because I remember an interview he gave in, I think, the 80s, where he talked about being pro-choice. And I was like, well, what a fucking hypocrite, because now he's just doing this for political expediency. That's not exactly how it actually went down, though, because after that interview, he had a personal friend who was confided in Trump that he was thinking about having an abortion. And it ended up just they weren't able to get it through whatever circumstance. And they ended up having the kid and loving the kid. And the guy said to Trump, this was, I couldn't imagine not having this, blessing in our lives. And so since then, he has actually switched positions and said he is pro-life with a few caveats. So Trump is pro-life, like 44% of other Americans. 51% of Americans are pro-choice. And that would leave, I think, the other 4% to be undecided. Now, in the case of life of the mother being in danger, incest or rape, Trump has actually said that he is okay with abortions in those extreme circumstances. So many pro-lifers are not. That is kind of a pro-choice argument. However, I can see it both ways, because if you're from a pro-choice argument, you're going to want to say, well, if the life of the mother is in danger, of course, like, that's a reason why you should have the choice to have an abortion. But if you're saying you're pro-life, you're like, well, no abortion should be legal unless life of the mother, incest, or rape. So I can kind of see where both sides could come from. But 30% of Americans agree with that. If any of those three things are true, then abortion's fine. Trump is with those 33% or 30%. So that being said, where is it? There's another very worrying thing that has been happening, and that is the move to repeal contraceptions, or at least limit access to contraceptives, to people under the Title X provision. Now, this was enacted in 1970 by President Richard Nixon at the time. He has, or ever since then, this has been signed and amended by every single, Congress. And what it does is it is a joint state and federal program that basically gives low-income families the access to family planning facilities such as Planned Parenthood. That's one of the main government-funded institutions that does these kinds of things. And it's been doing it for over 50 years. So killing this Title X provision would be normally like an untouchable thing, because it has to go through Congress to be repealed. So Trump, being the business genius he is, I guess, has been dealing with this problem like he has with every other problem. So if it's the EPA and you don't like the EPA, you appoint Scott Pruitt to head it, somebody who has sued the EPA 14 times. If it is somebody who you want to dismantle abortion access or contraceptive access, you would appoint somebody to run the Health and Human Services Population Affairs Office, who would be of the same mindset as you. And then dismantle it from within. So basically just setting up obstacles in the way to derail the entire program. So, because they can't exactly go after the contraceptive mandate, which was written into law under Obama, which basically said that all private insurance providers through work must provide free contraceptives to their employees under their healthcare plans. Well, that didn't really, that was actually in October of 2017, that contraceptive mandate actually was pushed through. So that was approved. So if you work at a place based on their ideas of, or their morality or their views on religion, they could deny you contraceptives. Now, really quick, Planned Parenthood, just so I can get this number out there, the public support for Planned Parenthood is 75%. So 28% want to block funding for Planned Parenthood. Now, on to something else, and this is more of an abortion statistics breakdown. I will get into my personal feelings on abortion at the last segment of this, but this is just very enumerating. Is that the right word? Enlightening? Are those interchangeable? I'm not sure. So more than half of all U.S. abortion patients in 2014 were in their 20s. So most of the statistics I'm going to be reading are from 2014. In their 20s, patients aged 20 to 24 obtained 34% of all abortions. And patients 25 to 29 obtained 27%. So really quick, what I see from just these numbers right here is that obviously younger women are getting abortions, but these are also going to be, at least right now, millennials. We already know how hard it is for millennials in the workforce, how hard it is for millennials who are single parents or just parents, period, who don't have, a great paying job, have student loan debts to pay off, yada, yada. So you could see already how some of that would be like adding a kid to the family would be a huge economic and I guess resource drain on the family. So get this, white patients accounted for 39% of abortion procedures in 2014. Blacks 28%, Hispanics 25%, and all other ethnicities were 9%, but 17% of abortion patients in 2014 identified as mainline Protestant, 13% evangelical Protestant, and Catholic 38%, or 24% Catholic and 38% reported no religious affiliation. At the remaining 8 said some other. So 13% of evangelical Protestants, aka the people who think you burn in hell if you have an abortion, aka Trump's base, aka the people who are leading this country into world wars over possible world wars or possible conflicts over their silly idea that Jesus Christ is going to return because President Donald Trump moved the Israeli embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. Because they think, they really want the world to end. They really think that Donald Trump is their best chance at getting Jesus Christ to come back and bring about Armageddon, where millions, billions would die and the earth would be destroyed. And yeah, it's absolutely fucking crazy. So just think about how hypocritical they are. The same people, the same 13% that got abortions are evangelical Protestants. And evangelicals, by the way, make up a scary amount of the Christians in the U.S. I actually have a whole nother segment I'm planning to do on evangelicals and their relationship with Donald Trump and why somebody who's so obviously not a man of God would be revered and upheld by all these people who are the apparently most God-fearing people in the United States. Now, here's one of the most important facts for everybody watching this video, whether you're pro-life or pro-abortion, to understand. The reasons patients give for having abortions. So it breaks down to 3 different major topics. 1, concern or responsibility to other individuals. 2, the inability to afford raising a child, and the belief that having a baby would interfere with work, school, or the ability to care for dependents. 3, half said they did not want to be a single parent or were having problems with their husbands or partner. So basically every single one of those, not wanting, the inability to afford raising a child, the belief that having a baby would interfere with work, school, or the ability to care for other dependents, and not wanting to be a single parent or having problems with their spouse, those all lead me to think that those people are scared. They're scared that they're going to bring up a kid in an environment where they're not going to be able to take care of them. They're scared that maybe that kid will, and this may be a selfish thought, but it's a human thought, that the kid's going to take away from their hopes and dreams. And yes, that is, of course, what having a kid is about, sacrifice. You put them before yourself. I completely understand that. But you have to understand people are inherently selfish, and some people will make that decision based on the fact that they feel like it's going to inhibit their goals and their dreams. And, you know, I don't feel like I'm the kind of person who could be able to tell them that that's not okay. So, let's see. All right, so I just want to read a few more facts. So nearly half, or 45% of all pregnancies among U.S. women in 2011 were unintended, and about 4 in 10 of these were terminated by abortion. 19% ended in abortion, excluding miscarriages. 19% in 2014 of all pregnancies ended in abortion. So essentially, what we're seeing here is that I totally lost my train of thought, excuse me. So 19% of pregnancies in 2014 ended in abortion. That's nearly 1 in 5 women in 2014. Or I'm sorry, 1 in 5 pregnancies. So and yes, some women have multiple abortions, but I would doubt that they had multiple ones in 2014. So I would say, you know, about 1 in 5 women or pregnancies ended up in abortion. So that should show you right there that if you criminalize it or make it illegal or equate it to murder, you're going to have a lot of young, scared girls who are, you know, just becoming adults themselves. And in most cases are still kids, at least mentally, or they are. They shouldn't have to go through all of this ridicule for making a decision that's so difficult to them, and also a decision that's personal and it's none of your fucking business. And I finally told you guys I would end up or finish this based on my opinion on abortion. So here it goes. My opinions on abortion is I think abortion is immoral. And I know that's going to shock a lot, probably every one of my viewers, because because most of them are aware that describe myself as a progressive, but hear me out. I'm against abortion in principle, but I think all of those caveats I just gave show that you have to understand that there's not going to be a way for these people who are going to get abortions because they're young, they're scared, yada, yada. You know, they could go and try things like doing coat hanger abortions again, or risking their own lives. And that's just going to lead to thousands of unnecessary deaths that could have been prevented of the mother and the child. Okay? Oh, before I leave, I didn't finish my stance on abortion. So it is immoral in my view. It is because I think that if I were to get a girl pregnant and she told me she wanted an abortion, I would tell her, I will do everything in the world for you and the baby while you carry it to term. And once you deliver it, you're off the hook. You never have to, see him or her or, worry about anything. It'll be like it never happened. Just let me be there for my child. That's my personal view. Now, I don't think that it's fair to lump in the extreme cases like I mentioned earlier, rape, incest, and life of the mother with these, because those are, I think, no matter whether or not which side of the fence you sit on, I think if you don't approve of abortion in those cases, you're just wrong. You're just wrong, because that's immoral. That's imposing your beliefs onto others in a way that necessarily, I don't know, lost my train of thought yet again. But I know people who have had them. And even though I think it's immoral, that's just because I think that it is a life that could be cared for. And, maybe a fuck up is a fuck up, and fuck ups happen. But because women will go out and try to get them, whether it's on, through a back alley abortion or whether it's through a coat hanger one, because of those instances where people's lives will be put in danger, we need to offer a safe and effective, clean, sterile environment for these women to go to get this procedure done. And I think that's where I'm going to leave this for right now. I'm sure I forgot a bunch of stuff because there's so much to talk about all of this. Yes, I want to drop one more fact on you guys before I go. So by limiting access to contraceptives, which the Health and Human Services Department of Population Affairs is trying to do, there would, in 2014, there were 822,000 unwanted pregnancies, and these are at Planned Parenthood facilities or abortion facilities through contraceptives. So out of those 822,000 unwanted pregnancies that were prevented, 387, I'm sorry, let me start over. Out of the 822,000 pregnancies, 287,000 were unwanted, and 287,000 would have ended up in abortions. So if you're anti-abortion, pro-life, you should be pro-contraceptives. And I don't think there's a dispute to be had with that. If you think life starts at conception, which it biologically, factually does, that doesn't mean that life is the same as a baby or even a zygote, because at that point, it's not even either of those. But it doesn't really negate the fact that I am popping in and out today, guys. I'm sorry. It doesn't negate the fact that you would be able to save 278,000 abortions from taking place. And I think that is the nail in the coffin for the contraceptives argument. I think everybody should have access, men and women. So men, condoms, or if they finally come out with male birth control pills, which I'm skeptical of, and then providing women with birth control or other forms of pregnancy prevention. That's the best way to go about solving these unwanted abortions. So if you like what I do and are tired of me rambling like I am, please like, comment, and subscribe. I would really appreciate that, and I will see you guys later. Peace out. And peace out for real this time.